Thank you, CEO DeJong. Good evening. It is Tuesday, not Thursday, May 31st, and it is 5:07. And I am in chambers with Councillor Abbott, CAO DeJong, and CFO Rook. Online, we have Public Works Manager Jaffer and Councillors Barmere and Bain. Councillor Cunliffe expresses her sorry that she's not here this evening. I will call the meeting to order. And immediately we will go into closed council meeting, and the proposed topics for discussion in the absence of the public are labor relations. Is there anything more to add, CAO DeJong?
Yeah. What do we call it? Let's call it land. So let's just call it land.
And the sections.
And just
Give you a second here.
Add section A to what we have here.
Sections.
Section A and legal advice, whichever section. E, I think.
Let's take a pause.
I think it's E.
Take a pause and get it right.
Legal advice.
Okay. And so the other we'll be dealing with labor relations and CEO advised lands, and that the meeting be closed to public on the basis of matters to be considered under the following sections of the community charter. And where required, the council does consider that the matters could reasonably expected to harm the interests of the municipality if they were held in public. And those would be subsections 91, subsection C, subsection A, and the subsection about legal advice, CAO is E. Okay, council anticipates reconvening the open meeting at 5:30 to discuss the balance of the agenda. All those in favor of the reason to close and the purpose of the meeting, please confirm by saying yes. Opposed, no.
Yes.
Good, carried, thank you. And we'll go into closed. Okay, gallery's in.
Yeah.
And we're on record. On record, we're live. Good. Hello, everybody. It is 5:40 on May 31st. Council has come from the closed portion of the agenda and left that in abeyance to come back to the open. Nothing to report out at this moment. So we welcome the gallery who's in attendance. I'll put forward the motion to adopt the agenda as submitted. Councillor Abbott, do you have any additions, deletions?
No.
No. Councillors, any additions, deletions? Otherwise, no. And we'll move on. I'll find all in favor of the agenda as submitted. Confirm by saying yes. Opposed, no. Thank you. Public participation. I see we've got one gallery member. If you'd like to participate, you don't have to turn your camera on. Just unmute. You can go live. And if not, we'll move on. Then we'll move on and we'll be at item number 6, staff reports. Public Works Manager, you're on item number 1.
So basically what we've done is we've talked to Waste Control about starting work early, meaning that they could start their Friday route at potentially 6 a.m. They can't do it any earlier than that. They are not allowed to run their garbage trucks in the city of Coquitlam, which is their home base, until after 5 a.m. So by the time the drivers drive from Coquitlam to North Vancouver, where they pick up their swampers, it's probably about 5:30, 5:45. And if lucky, they could make it to Lions Bay by 6. So that's one of the options we're looking at. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any questions that council has.
Yeah, my only concern about that particular one is residents would then have to all have the garbage outside by 6. So my concern would be people might miss it. They become accustomed to pickups never starting before 7, regardless of the areas.
Yeah,
So that's my concern about that one. And we don't know whether they can do it or not yet. So you still got to work that out. So I guess for this week, we agreed we will still just do the early morning option at the workshop.
Okay.
Explore that one further, see what makes sense.
okay. The other thing that they're looking into is the additional pickup. So going to garbage on weekly, and that will be a significant cost. They're just trying to work that out right now.
Okay.
But it's essentially doubling our existing pickup.
So what does that translate to in real dollars? What does that actually mean?
We're waiting for their estimate.
Just quick spitball on this one. Our contract CFO is about $250,000 a year. So, you can divide by 50 just to do some quick numbers here, 52 weeks, and go from there and double for a couple of months.
It'll just be for the garbage portion though, like we
Yeah,
already paid.
just the
for
garbage,
Organics,
yeah.
recycling,
So
yeah.
I know that staff is thrifty, but it's not pennies, that's for sure.
So it's $5,000 a week.
Thereabouts, not just, again, back to the.
No, it wouldn't be that much.
No, that's a little high to me.
Well, there's also the concern about you doubling the exposure of the garbage to the bears. So, I mean, is that even a good idea? I'm not sure.
I think with what's pending, I think that's probably not the best idea. Would you agree?
Well, let's explore these other options. Yeah, I don't know how many residents really. That.
So
Great.
the other option that they're looking into is the option of providing, and they have confirmed they can do this, Councillor Abbott, that they can provide us with a garbage bin, a large 3-yard garbage bin, a large organics bin, and some large recycling bins for us to set up a depot, for example, as we originally thought on Isleview. However, the concern there is that we'll be directing bears to that location or to any location where we decide to set this up. So that's
Yeah.
problematic, and that won't be cheap as well.
So I think we've all come around separately to that same conclusion that might not be the smartest idea, unless it was a timed sort of drop off and pick up, in which case it kind of defeats the aim of the residents that are trying to get the stuff out of their house.
Yeah.
So I think we should just keep that one and the numbers also on the back burner for now.
Okay.
And maybe circle back to it later. I think we all came to that conclusion separately.
Good idea, but we can't give the bears the wrong map to follow. Okay, thank you very much. If we could move on to the next piece, which is the bylaw enforcement activities and public inquiries, and I'm not sure, CAO, that's yours.
Yeah, so I pulled that information and there's a couple of short reports on the activities of the bylaw enforcement officers and their interactions with members of the public, warning notices that have been issued, education, and so forth. Since earlier in May. And then there's also an estimate of the number of calls that have been received by the office since May 25th, village update. And the issues that have been raised, questions asked and so forth by members of the public, and that's set out in bullet point form, which will be attached as a on table to the
Thank you.
website.
Great. Councilors, any questions on this? I'd like to move to the pending motion. Councilor Abbott, any questions?
There's, maybe we should just go through these. They are fairly consistent with some of the other stuff we've heard, but maybe we could just go through them really quickly. You know, the first bullet, you know, we're seeing that on the other report, there's coming through the yards, there's getting into garbage bins. We try and narrow the window, garbage bins shouldn't be outdoors. And we're working on that in the educational and the bylaw. They got into organics when they were frozen, even with a clean bin. All we can keep doing is trying to educate people, the bins as clean as possible. You know, ours is clean, frozen meat stuff, and we've never had a bear knock it over, so I don't know. But anyway, we just need to be working on that. This idea that it's unacceptable to throw rocks at bears, yes, and we try to go away from that messaging. Interestingly, in our conversation with the Conservation Office, he said use appropriate hazing techniques. He said air horns, noise, banging, throw things, sticks and rocks. And we said, well, that's the kind of message we try to go away from. And he said, that's the message there. And even the Conservation Officer said that. So we are staying away from that message. We don't feel it's appropriate to throw rocks at bears, especially if it's with any intent to hurt. And he's saying it's not the intent, it's, you know, it's just to make them uncomfortable. He did suggest throw things.
Right. I just don't think we want to go there at all.
Yeah, so we toning down that message. It was a message that was put out there, but it is the common message you'll get from Conservation Office. Confusion about pickup times. There's always confusion with change. I think we've done a fairly good job, and we just need to get another VU depending on what's out comes out tonight. Get that out there, and the less change, the better, obviously, or the more consistent changes rather than confusing it. Bins outside, we've spoken why we don't want to do that. That's great. Missed pickups due to confusion of pickup times. Yeah, there was one case of WCS on the recycling in Kelvin Grove that we know of. And questions about Bear Smart's authority to change WCS scheduling. Well, I never thought we had that authority. I'm assuming that got straightened out. That was done by Workshop, not by Bear Smart. I think that people should be clear on that. Requests by Bear Smart maybe, but only changes were done by the Workshop. And then questions about bylaw and new schedule not being consistent. I think we're working on that. So okay, so I don't think there's any further action that comes out of this, Peter. We just got this before the meeting, so that's why I just thought we'd all right. Other than the ongoing education.
Yeah, this is just for information.
Yeah.
This is,
And
you know,
it'll
the
be
public
part of public record.
I just want to make sure there wasn't anything there in my mind that we needed to deal with tonight.
No, Councillor Abbott, is there, and I believe the community reads with great interest the articles on the Bear Smart piece. I know it's, to many, it's preaching to the converted, but it seems to be a message we need to keep going out. Is it something you want to put your hand on to for yet another edition for the update?
I think we're going to, depending on what happens tonight, we're going to do another VU.
Okay.
I think we just have to do another Wednesday. Did we do Wednesday or Thursday? No, we did Wednesday. Wednesday 1 week and Thursday the other.
Maybe Thursday would be closer to the, you know, like, oh yeah, I gotta get my stuff ready.
Wednesday the first week and Thursday the second, because we couldn't do
Okay.
Wednesday.
All right, why don't you?
When it's in the mailbox by Thursday, because if they pick it up
Oh, sorry,
Friday,
I thought we were talking about the village update.
We're talking about
I thought you were talking about a
Village
special
update.
village update.
fire.
another special village update based on what we do tonight.
Okay, so that's a yes. Sorry, I'm asking your tired hand to let.
I'll poll people to find out whether Wednesday or Thursday seems to be the best, but yes, either way
Okay,
this week.
thank you very much on behalf of all of us. It's a thankless, tiresome task, but the consequences are horrible, and we're putting our best folks to it. So thank you very much. That's good. We've dealt with that. Next piece, mayor's report, and next is council, and this is really the key piece of the public. And if you want to pause for a second, Councillor Abbott, I know you've got a motion. And I think you've got the guts of it already. If there's something from the bullet points that you want, have a quick look at it and
Well, I think-
incorporate it into the whole works.
Because it's just, I think we should clean it up by going through the bullet points. I think I know where we're going from what we discussed earlier, but let's just make sure.
Just take a second and
Well,
over like.
Okay, I don't think we need to go through the report. I mean, everything when council's read it, and there's only one resident that's called in, and I can tell you that resident knows this very well.
Put the recommendation forward.
So, let's just make sure we've got this right. So we want to adjust the schedule. The daily drop off at lunch hour is going to be a no. For now.
Let's go that you're kind of crafting this in your mind before we get to the final.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there.
He's stating the, I think the consensus opinion.
Yeah,
I'm going to go through these and
let's let them clean it up here.
clean up. So the Tuesday after 7 was a second place. Nearly, but it's a no. The Saturday morning drop off is what we're going to focus on as the next change. So that's going to be the yes. And I will deal with it within the workshop, so it's not an attractant. The second weekly pickup through the summer is, I'm not sure if it's doable, and two could be very costly for, we think, little gain at the moment. So we'll make that a no. We're going to continue with the Friday morning, 6 to 8.
Correct.
Correct. We're going to be permitted to publicize this through a VU and on the notice boards. Telling people what's available to them, not that they have to call Bestmart to find out.
Correct.
The BEO shifts duties have been adjusted. That was in your earlier report, Peter, or was that? Just in your-
Yeah, and
Okay.
with the further adjustments for this week.
Yeah,
So that, the early and late as possible kind of thing.
Okay, so we can go and look at those in a minute. So that's happening.
So, but the bullet that starts with publicize,
Yeah.
you're gonna cross off mailbox or mail flyer, right? For now,
For this week, yes, for now, yeah. Unless there's another significant change along the lines that Nye got.
but we won't know that until, I mean, by the time we have council meeting next week.
Yeah.
We'll hopefully have additional information and can always revisit.
Yeah, correct. But for now, we're just going to do the
VU and the notice board stuff, right?
correct.
BEOs are already aligned.
Village staff measures, we're going to discuss those in close, but we get to that, finalize the conversation. So that's not part of this. Food grocery delivery services, and that's the correction. We corrected what we said last week. Last week we were going to notify them all. We're not going to notify them. We are going to advise residents. They need to make sure they're at home. You know, it's part of the practice good.
I think there's, like this, in discussing this with staff and some people have used the service before themselves and stuff. The general consensus was that you've got people who have the inability to get out and that's why they use the service. So they're home. And you have people who are too busy to go shopping because they're working or they're single parents or whatever, and they're not home.
Yeah.
So it's those people who you can't very well tell them they can't do it. And there haven't been any issues. There's no evidence to suggest that it's a problematic issue. And the same thing has been found in Squamish, apparently. They haven't had any issues with it in terms of bears getting into boxes of food. So I'm thinking that that's probably not where we need to focus our attention, because there are people who will need to use the service regardless of what we say.
Yes. Okay, so just one correction. There has been a bear going into the empty totes left outside.
Into what?
Into the empty totes after the delivery had happened.
The empty
What do you
refrigerated
mean,
things.
the empty box?
The boxes.
The boxes.
So the people who have a regular service like us get a rubber tote, like a Rubbermaid tote.
Okay.
You don't just get a box, you get a tote, and they swap them out each week. You give them the old one. So if you're in a regular cycle, you get one of those. We got one of those. Someone left those outside under their carport. without the food, after they'd taken the food out and the bears got into them. So has happened and it could happen. A bear got into a box left on someone's doorstep. It was from Amazon. It had no food stuff in it. It had a cell phone cover protector thing that had opened and battered. So
Okay.
we don't want to create an issue, but we agree we're not going to, put notice that it can't
Okay.
happen.
I
And
mean, the problem, I think, is really that, bears will investigate and chew on anything if they think it might be a food source. They are known to chew up hot tub lids, right? So there's only so much you can do.
it's a bit of a,
This is part of the education.
once again,
You can't educate about not having a hot tub lid.
All we can do is
So-
put it in the update and there we go.
please don't leave them outside. Yeah.
Councillor Abbott,
They arrive and we know it's not a Bible. Okay.
hey,
So that one we're going to leave as is.
you're on Broad, Councillor Abbott, you're on Broadway. You've had a chance to articulate this through. CAO's taken his notes. Let's start from the top and go through.
So I've highlighted in green what we are going to do. So bullet number 3.
So. Councillor Abbott,
Should I, do you want me to read?
your motion is that council direct staff to take the following additional actions to avoid bear-human interactions, and now go.
Okay. Temporary adjust probably work shifted our resident drop-offs to accommodate residents who cannot meet the revised schedule. Including the following: Saturday morning drop-off for 3 hours. Should we put the time in here? This is going out to the public. No, is it what is it? Is it 9 till 12, 8 till 3? Or do you want to put the time out later?
The time is up to you. It's entirely up to you. It would be a call out. So
I would say 8 to 11 is probably the sweetest spot for.
Good. It's all morning.
Okay, 8 to 11.
sounds good.
Continue with the Friday morning drop-off, with one staff coming in early. The drop-off time will be extended from 6 till 8. That one's good to go.
Correct. Yeah.
We'll publicize these additional options through the village update and on the signage boards. And we won't do the mailbox flyer unless we get some more changes in the near future. And then BO shifts have been adjusted as per the attached schedule from the CEO. And that we'll use public education to advise people about food delivery drop-off services rather than try to legislate.
There you go. Any more additions, Councillor Abbott?
No.
Good, thank you very much. Councillor Bain, will you second that motion?
Yep.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, any questions before we call a motion? Call the motion. All in favor, please confirm by saying yes. Opposed, no.
Yes.
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 Carried. Thank you.
For the matter of the record, Peter, should we just read out the bylaw enforcement times?
Oh,
It was
Yeah.
part of the resolution. We didn't actually state what they were.
yeah, so they that wasn't in their report. So this week, we've got one officer on Thursday going from 2:30 to 10 p.m. And so there won't be parking enforcement earlier in the day. Friday, we'll have one starting at 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. and the other one going from 1 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The Friday morning will be aimed at ferreting out those 20 to 30 residents who tend to put out garbage on recycling organics only Fridays, because that seems to be, from the feedback we've got from the drivers, a regular occurrence in that sort of range of numbers of people that do that. So we'll try and target those people and educate them and clean that up if we can.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, any questions for the CAO or staff? There being none, I'll go to the public gallery. There's one in the gallery. If you'd like to participate for 2 minutes, you're welcome. Just, you don't have to turn your camera on, you can unmute and you've got the floor. Otherwise, we'll move on. There being no public participation, and we'll thank the gallery for their attendance. We will stop this meeting for the moment, and I'll put forward the motion to go into close to resume that meeting. Councillor Abbott, will you second me?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, please confirm by saying yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Move to
Yes.
close. The gallery member, thank you and good evening. Thank you very much. Mayor McLaughlin back in council chambers, and council has come back from the in-camera portion of the meeting to the open agenda, and staff or council reports out the following. That in the in-camera portion, staff updated council on the union collective agreement and labor relations considerations pertaining to some Bear Smart requests. And that was all that was going to be reported out. Councillor Abbott, can I have a motion to close the meeting?
For the motion.
Councillor Bain, can you second for me?
Second.
All those in favor, please confirm by saying yes. Those opposed, no.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Meeting is closed. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, night.
Night, night.
Good night.
We have bear spray and bear